Hello and welcome back to my channel. And so in today's video, as part of our 10 days hackathon Power BI project series, today we are sitting in as a data or business analyst for one San Martin stores. Now, leadership has requested a comprehensive analysis of their 2021 performance across customers, stores, sales, agents, products, and regional locations. Okay, and so we are to go in there and help this business analyze its data set and uncover reasonable insights. Okay, so what is our goal? Our goal for this project is to uncover what drove sales, where profitability came from, who their best customers and agents are, and which stores or regions needs improvement. Now, if you want to follow along, the data set for this particular project is in the description box below. You can go in there, download it, and follow along as I take you through this project. Okay. Now, the data set for this project includes multiple relationship tables. So we have the sales, we have the customers, product, stores, sales agent, and location tables. And so, in view of this, the first that should even come to mind is the fact that we are going to be using what we call data modeling and relationship for this project. Okay, so the key business objective for this project is one, see how we can increase total revenue and profitability across all stores, understanding customer behavior and purchasing trends, identify the top performing and underperforming stores, products, and regions for improving sales agent productivity and then optimizing product mix and inventory strategy. So these are key business objectives towards this project, all right? And the company has provided it with some questions, all right, that we can follow in order to answer or to give feedback on these objectives. Okay, and so these are the questions, the analytical questions that we are going to be following and drawing visuals on or preparing visuals on in order to answer the business or the key objectives or to help management identify or to understand or to get results for the key business objective. Okay, and so this analytical questions includes finding the total sales, the total cost, and the total profit, the weekdays that's recording the highest and the lowest revenue, the profitability margin trend across the year, the product category generating the most revenue and profit, top 5 best-selling products by category, all of this all the way to question number 40, which is how does unit cost versus unit price vary across product categories. And so we are going to be tackling all of these projects or helping management answer all of these questions in this particular project. Okay, and so we'll be jumping in and going in right now to start answering these questions and providing value to management. If you are ready, let's jump in. Okay, so in view of this project, this is what the final outcome is supposed to look like, all right? So this is going to be our final outcome. We have the page 1, that's the overview page, and then we have the page 2, which is also another page in this particular project. So this is what we'll be looking at, all right? Now, without much ado, let's delve right in. And of course, we'll be using this as a guide. A few things can change here and there, but it depends on what we want to do in the moment, all right? And you're also allowed to add your own style, okay? Make it your own style, all right. If you want to change the background color, you are free to do that. If you want to change the font style and such, you are free to do it. If you want to position them in a different way so that you can say, all right, so this particular project you were guided, but you also added your own way of doing things, that is totally fine. All right, that makes you unique and makes it stand out so that when you go for an interview, you are able to answer these relevant questions, all right, that interviewers will probably ask you when you get there. Okay, and so for before we even begin, I just want you to know that I created the background for this project, all right, already in PowerPoint. Okay, so this is my background preparation in PowerPoint, and I'll be leaving this in the description box below as well. You can go in there and you can just download and change a few things however way you want if you want to do that, all right. And so yeah, without much ado, let's dive right in and start doing something. Okay, and so now that we have everything sorted out, the first thing that we need to do for this project is to go get our design background or to prepare our design background, all right, in any case. Okay, and so we're preparing the design background because I've already stated that we already have our background design in Power BI. We are just going to go and then pull in that background into Power BI. Okay, so we are going to come to canvas background, go to browse, and then wherever you've saved that particular picture, because you need to have saved it as picture, okay, you just go and pull that in. Okay, so Power BI, and we are looking at the St. Martins, all right. So once you have it now, you can simply just come down, okay, and then reduce the transparency. All right, and so we have our first design background. Okay, and so for the next one, or the second one, we are going to do the exact same thing. Okay, and you are going to select the next one. All right, and then open, and we are going to close this. Okay, so now we have our design background for both pages, and we can just go in and then start answering our questions. Now, to begin with, I just wanted to know that I've already created my measures and any other thing that will be relevant to this particular project right here. But as and when it's needed to show you, I'll let you know how I did it and what went into it. All right, so don't fret. So let's continue. So now we have our background. We are going to just start answering the questions because there's nothing much more to do here. So we are just going to go in and start answering our questions. Okay. And so our first question, which is the management wants to find out what the total sales, the total cost, and the total profit is for the year 2021. Now, before we even go or delve into it any further, I just want to say this particular data set is just for 2021. Okay, and so if you come right here, you can see that it's just for the date section is just for 2021. So everything is just for 2021. I think this should be fine. So the year, everything is 2021. Okay, so everything is, and the month is basically just January. Okay, the month is also there just for January. So January 2021 details is what we are actually working with. All right, or working on. So that is just by the way. And so they want to find the total sales, the total cost, and the total profit for this year. All right, and for the month. So total sales, total cost, and total profit. And so I already created my measures. All right, for that. And so I have my total sales right over here. I have my total profit, I have my total cost, and my total quantity. Everything is over here. All right, and because it's total, that's the summation of everything. All right, we are not looking for the average or the count, we are looking for the total sales. All right, which is the sum. Okay, and so the DAX measure that we use is sum. All right, so you can see the total sales. This is the DAX measure, which is sum of the sales. Okay, so we have a sales column, so sum of the sales column. That gives us the total sales. Now for the total profit as well, because we want the total profit is the sum of all the profit. All right, so total profit you can see is the sum of the profit. And then for total cost as well, because we are looking for the total, the sum as well, so we use what we call the sum of the unit cost. All right, so the unit cost, the total of all the unit cost gives us the total cost. All right, and so this is how we got to find the total sales, the total profit, and the total cost. And so in this particular project, we are asked to find what the total sales, the total cost, and the total profit is. Okay, and so now that we've created our measures, we can easily just go and now pick our measures up. So total sales, total profit, and then total cost. And then I threw in a little bit of total quantity, because it will be needed in some of the visualization. You have to use the total quantity. So I just created that just so that you can also take a look at it, know that all right, so this is actually the total quantity. So when we are using the total quantity in those particular areas, you are aware of what we are doing. Okay, all right, I don't know if that makes sense, but that should make sense. Okay, all right, so now that we have our KPIs, which is the total, so the total profit, the total cost, and the total quantity for the entire period, and we've found the right visual for it, which is the card, we can easily just go in and now we are going to format the card. All right, to make it look good for this particular project. All right, and so for the formatting, we are just going to go here, and multi-card layout should be okay, so that should be 4. All right, but with the gaps in between them, all right, we are going to close the gaps. All right, because we don't want this 8 px gaps. All right, we want it to be 0 or 1. All right, so that we have enough space for other things. Okay, all right, so we have that, and I'm going to remove the background. All right, because I don't want any background for this particular project. Okay, and so now that we are done, and now we go to the cast itself. All right, and for the cast itself, we are going to remove any borders, any dividers, and then any backgrounds. However, I like to add some accent bars to this. Okay, and for the accent bar, I believe you can just make the color blue and at the left side. Okay, so blue and from the left. All right, now you can choose decide to make it from the right. That is mainly based on you. All right, depends on you. Okay, if you want to change the color, you can just change the color. If you want to change the position, you can easily just change the position from left to right. All right, and so if I'm to select right, now it's going to be starting from the right. If I'm to select maybe bottom, now it's going to start from the bottom. All right, but in this particular case, I want it from the left side. Okay, And so I have that, and that is that with the card. Now we go to the callout. So the figures in them, we want to reduce the size and the fonts and all of that. Okay, so we come to the values and going to bolding it, but we are going to reduce the size. So maybe 16 should be fine. All right, and then right after that, we are going to position or align it in the middle. Okay, all right. And then we go to the labels. So the labels are the total quantity, the total cost, the right tabs under the figures. Okay. And so we are going to go to here, come here, make this black, and this should be fine. Okay, so now that we are done with this, we can just go and remove any effect, all right, on this particular project. All right, so I'm just going to remove all the effects, all right, from this particular project, so that now we have this. So there's no more effect on this particular project, and voila, I think this is fine. So now we are done answering our first question. Okay, so we are done answering our first question. All right, so this is the total, so the total product and the total cost, the total quantity. So anyone that comes in contact with this data set is able to tell from first glance that this is the KPIs, the totals for this company or for these stores. Uh, you know, uh, um, the total for this store. All right, so like to know how the store is performing and all of that. Okay, all right, so that's our first question. Now the second question is which weekday recorded the highest and lowest revenue? And now for this, because we don't have the weekday, okay, so you need to go in and create your calculated table in order to find the weekday. So this is our calculated table that I created. Now I created this from scratch because normally with the dates you don't have weekday. You have the year, you have the quarter, you have the month, and then you have the day. All right, you have the day, and for the day it simply shows you days as in 1 to 30th or 1 to 31st, but it doesn't show you the weekday like from Sunday to Saturday or from Monday to Sunday. All right, and so in view of this, in order for us to know the weekday, we need to have gone to create the calendar table, and that is what we went to create. And so I'll show you how I created the calendar table. All right, so in order to create a calendar table, first of all, you click on the stores or any one of them, and then now you can go to new table. All right, so when you get to new table, to give you an option to start putting in your measures for a new calendar table. All right, and so this is the measure for my calendar table. So for my calendar table, I said calendar table equal to calendar. I use the min. All right, so order date and the max order date. So this will give me all the dates that I'm looking for within the order date column. All right, so it's going to start from the 1st of January 2021 all the way to the 31st of January 2021. All right, because the order date is yes for the month of January 2021. All right, so it's going to give me everything from the 1st of January 2021 all the way to the 31st of January 2021. So this is how I created my calendar table. All right, and then from there I found my month based on my calendar table, not based on the order date. All right, but based on my calendar date. All right, and so you can see the formula right here. Month is equal to month calendar table date. So this is a calendar table date. All right, if you see here, this is a calendar table, so the calendar table date. All right, and then I found the year also from the calendar table date, and then the month name from the calendar table date. And so this is how I found the month name, because you can see we have month here and we have month name here. Now if you use the month function, it's going to give you everything in figures, but if you use the format, all right, function to find the month name, it's going to give you everything in its right ways. All right, so like so. And then week number. All right, so week number, that is from Sunday to Saturday. All right, so you can see it's just 7 days in a week. All right, 7 days. All right, and so we also found the week number with this formula. Weekdays go to this, but we needed the actual days. We wanted the days in string form, so I used again format, and I used this formula to get the weekday. All right, now I actually did this so that we can actually added this so that we can just sort by, all right, by the weekday, so that everything will be according to. So it's going to be from Monday all the way to Sunday, or from Sunday all the way to Saturday. All right, so that we don't get Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday like that. All right, and again, that is why I also added the month. Or I also just use the month, and then with this, when we come to month name again, you can just sort it out by the month, by this one, so that in case you're using the month, it's going to actually flow from January all the way to December, but not January, April, March, February. No. All right, and so that's what we did over there. Okay, and so that's how we created our calendar table. And now the question is saying that we created a calendar table, and now we're able to find our weekday from that. All right, and now the question is asking us to find which weekday recorded the highest and lowest revenue. Okay, and so in view of this, we can simply just go in, excuse me, and say, okay, So which weekday? So I can select my weekday now. All right. So Sunday all the way to Saturday. So which weekday contributed? So we are looking at revenue. All right. So measure table, I'm going to my total sales because this is a revenue. And then now from here, we are going to go to line chart. Now, before I even continue, I just want to make this one thing clear. It's kind of skipped me. Because these tables are so many, all right, because we are working with so many different tables, like I said in the initial stages, that we are going to have to create a relationship and data modeling, all right, in order to use this table as one big table, all right. And so if you come right here, I created my relationship. Okay, so this is how the relationship is created, all right. So we have the stores table, and then we have the customers table, and then we have our main table, which is the sales standards, whatever. I think it's in French or Spanish. And so we created our tables over here. Okay, now the calendar table as well, because it's a new table, you are going to have to create a relationship for the calendar table. And so if you check, you are going to see that I have my calendar table, which is this, also related. Now if you don't know how relationships and data modeling works, I have a video on relationship and data modeling, which I went into details, I spoke more about, all right. And so you can just check that out to get an idea of how relationships and data modeling works. Okay, but I just wanted to throw this out there that we actually created a relationship and data model, and that is why we are able to use all of these tables as one. Okay, all right. So if that is clear, so now we are going to format our visual, okay, that we are working on. So what I'm going to do is, now that we have everything sorted out, we are going to go to our x-axis, and this is the x-axis. We don't want to see the title because we already know it's weekday, all right. However, I would like to see the weekdays themselves, and so that's that. And I'm going to change this. Now we want it to be black, all right. We want it to be original black, and yeah, but we don't want the title, so I'm going to take the title off, all right, so we have enough space, all right, for our visualization. Okay, and then for the y-axis, we are going to take all of them out as well, all right. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to remove this for the y-axis. Okay, all right. So that we are going to come in, we are going to continue with our formatting. And secondary, I don't want anything for secondary. And so let's see if there's any gray lines, and then we can remove them. I don't like things I don't like gray lines in my project, so I'm taking them off. And then we are going to add zoom slider, all right, to this. And then the line, we are going to leave the color as so, but maybe we would like to increase the width, the size of it a little bit. So we are going to do just that. And so yeah, and let's add our markers. Okay, so we are going to add our markers so we are able to actually pinpoint which weekday we are looking at. All right, so we are going to use the markers, and for this I believe we can change the color and use black, all right, to indicate this. Okay, so black. All right, so I think this is fine. So now that we are done with this, we can just go to our title and format it a little bit. So total sales by weekday, but it's all right. So total sales by weekday, and we are going to do this, reduce this, put this in the middle. All right, so that is our title formatted. Okay, so that's the title formatted, and now we are going to remove all effects. Okay, so we have this. So remove the effect so that it doesn't cause any confusions. All right, so now we have this. But there's one more thing I like to do, which is I like to add data labels to this particular work. So I'm going to turn on my data labels. All right, so we can just simply see the amount, and then come in and we can format this as well. All right, so we are going to format the values, make this, yeah, sure, and then we are going to make the color black, and voila, we are done with the second question. Okay, so now we are done with our second question. So let's move on to the third question. And the third question is, what is a profit margin trend across the year? So what is a profit margin trend across the year? But there's something that is being fishy about this particular question, because we only have January as the only month, and January as the only month from 1st to 31st. All right, we do not have any other month. All right, and the year is just 2021. And so when you say the profit margin trend across the year, we can actually use month, all right, and we can actually use year. So what we are going to do is that we are going to add a profit margin to what we've already created, all right, for the weekday. All right, so for this particular one, so we are going to know the total sales and the profit margin across each weekday. Okay, all right, and so I'm just going to go to my measure, and I'm going to pick my profit margin like so. All right, so this should be that, and then I can format a little bit by removing the legend started from it. So now if I come here, this is my total sales and my total profit for Sunday. So on Sunday, my total sales was 4.8 million, and my total profit for all Sundays, so the 4 Sundays in that particular month, was 1,378,000. All right, for profit. And then when it comes to Monday, my total sales were this. So you can see that on Wednesday we actually made the most sales and we made the most total profit as well. Okay, and so this is how you can answer that question for question 2 and question 3. All right. Question 2, which week they recorded the highest and lowest revenue? So the highest revenue was recorded on Wednesday. The lowest revenue was recorded on Saturday and sometime Sunday, but I think the lowest was recorded on Saturday. Okay, all right. And so that is how you can solve that particular question. And the question 3 is a profit margin across. Okay, so now we can move on to question 4, which is which product category generated the most revenue and profit. So product category. All right, so we are looking at the product category, and for product category we can find them under products. So we are looking at the product category, and then we want to find the total sales and then the profit. All right, so the total sales and then the profit. Okay, now with this, because we are looking for two different measures, all right, we are looking for the total sales as well as the profit. All right, just like so, what we can do with this one, because this is not a trend, all right, it's not a time trend, I'm going to be using this particular column. All right, now let me use this one. Okay, and then once I've selected it, I'll use this one. Once I've selected this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, all right, so for my column y axis I want the total sales, but my line y axis I want the total profit. So I'm going to put this right there. Okay, so that now I can have something like this. Okay, and so my totals is my total profit by my product category. So now I can have something like this, and now all we need to do is to go in there and format this. Okay, so let's format this. And always I say that formatting is one of the most important things, because seeing how it is now, you might think this is ugly, but after formatting it, that is when it changes. All right, and so we are going to format it and turn it from how it's looking now to how it's actually supposed to look. Okay, and so I'm going to come here, and for my y-axis I don't want anything for my y-axis, of course. All right, so I'm going to turn them all off. Okay, and then I'm going to go here and I'm going to turn my legends off. All right, okay, so now that I'm done with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my line, and for the line I want to make it, should I make it blue or should I make it black? So you can just change the line color. All right, however way we see fit. So I like to make it black. Okay, so my line, the line that is inside, that is the profit line. All right, the total profit line. By changing that, and then we are going to come here and then we are going to add some markers to this. All right, so we are going to add some markers to this. All right, and the markers are black, so that is fine. And let's add some data labels. Now adding data labels will be very wrong. Okay, so now we can go in here and work on the title to total sales and total profit by product category. Okay, so we are going to do this. I'm going to decrease this a little bit. I'm going to make this black, and then we are going to put this right there. Okay, so now let's see if using this rather makes sense or using this. Okay, so I think either one of them is fine. Okay, all right, so now that we are done with the formatting, so I don't think the data labels would work. This will also not work. No. Okay, so we are done with the question 4. All right, which is this particular one. So which product category generated the most revenue and profit? And so from here you can see that, all right, so this product category, the criteria generated the most sales. All right, whereas this one generated the least amount of sales. But when it comes to profit, we can simply say that this particular one, the pluggables generated the most profit. All right, because comparing this profit to this is 1 point, this is 2 million, this is hold on, this is also 2 million by 62,000, but this is 2,228,000. all right, and this is 1.7, and it goes down like that. So even though this generated the most sales, all right, this product category generated the most sales, this product category actually generated the most profit. Okay, and so yeah, that is that. Let's see if everything is fine. Okay, so we can see that right here. So the same thing. So you just change a little something, but that is fine. All right, so now let's move on to the next question. All right, which is what? Which is going to be, what are the top 5 best selling products by quantity? All right, and so that is why I created the quantity. All right, I created the total quantity measure. All right, because they are now asking us for the top 5 products with the highest quantity. All right, that's what the question says, right? And so what are the top 5 best selling products by quantity? Okay, and so we are going to just pick the quantity and we are going to go look for the top 5 products. All right, and so with that we are going to go to products and go to products here, and we are going to change this from products to the top 5. So I'm going to select top N and I'm going to use it top 5. And now it since it is by quantity, we are going to base this on the quantity. And now we are going to apply. Okay, and with this we are going to be using this particular one, this right here, all right, to indicate this particular result. Okay, all right, so now that we have this, all you can simply do is to format this, all right, so that it looks okay for the work that we are doing. All right, so like so, and now we can just go in and format this. So I'm going to select the format style for this, right, and so that we don't have to start the whole formatting all over again. All right, and so we have it like this, like so. And I like to add some data labels to this, because with this we should be able to add some data labels and even some zoom sliders, right? All right, sure. So we added the zoom slider, and now we can add our data labels to that, and we can simply just go down here and say, all right, we want to format the values for these data labels. We want to make this black, right, or dark, all right, bolded. Okay, so this is this for this question. So the total quantity by top 5 products. So let's just change the title of this. All right, so I'm going to change the title of this, and I'm going to say top 5 products by quantity. Okay, I'm going to say top 5 products, all right, by quantity, and that should be that. So top 5 products by quantity. So now if you look here, we can see that this particular product by Cicleta, I think this is Spanish, I'm not entirely sure, has the total quantity. All right, it brought in the total number of people, all right, at 207. And then this particular one, indoor inside, brought in, followed up close with 200 people. All right, so all 200 purchases were made. Okay, and then followed by this at 198 purchases, and then this 191, and I think 190 and 190. So this and this were at a tie. Okay, and so that is why they both come in at 5th place. All right, and so we can also see that just from looking at the data labels. All right, which is why the data labels is also one of the most important things. Okay, and so we have the top 5 products by quantity, we have the total sales and total profit by product category. We've also answered the trend. All right, the total profit and total sales by trend. Okay, all right, so now let's jump into the next question. All right, and so the next question says, which products have high sales but low profit margin? All right, so there are some products that have high sales but low profit margin. So we are going to be looking at the top 5 products with high sales, and we're also going to be looking at their profit margins, all right, to indicate whatever that is going on. Okay, all right, so let's jump right in. So I'm going to say top 5 products. All right, so products. All right, so I'm going to say products. All right, so top 5 products by total sales. So first I'm going to look at the total sales, and then I'm going to look at the total profit. All right, and so I'm going to now come here and I'm going to say, all right, so I want to find the top by sales, first by sales. All right, top 5 by sales, and then now that we have by sales, we can just easily look at the total profit. Okay, and with this I think I'm going to go with this as well. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use the same format for this. All right, the only difference is that now in this particular case we want the total profit also in the axis. Okay, and we can just bring this right over here. So let's increase it a little bit. Okay, and then we can just, all right, okay, okay, all right, so now we have that. Okay, And I believe we still need to do some remove background, um, remove effect stuff. All right, so let's go in there and remove the effects. All right, I think they all right. Sure. The effects are still turned on. Let's see if we can we add some zoom slider to this. This is going to spoil the whole thing. We don't need that right now. And let's see if the data labels will fit. All right, so we wouldn't want to use the data labels as well. So we can see from here that this particular project, all right, or this particular product by the collector Monty is actually bringing in enough sales. All right, is among the top five most brought in sales. All right, or products with the most revenue. However, the profit margin is quite low for an item bringing in so much sales. Okay, so management can decide to do something about this particular product. Okay, and this is also the same. All right, this is also the same. Okay, all right. Alright, so management can decide to do something about this particular product. Alright, and this one is also the same because they are both part of the top five products, but they are bringing in less profit. Alright, as compared to the rest. Okay, so management can decide on this and say, alright, so looking at this, we are either going to have to increase the price or something of this particular product. All right, let's increase the price a little bit to match the sales that is making. All right, and this as well. Okay, and then for the rest, if they're okay with that, you can say, all right, that is fine. But it's surprising that this is the leading product. All right, this is the leading product, but its profit doesn't match that of this and of that. And so management can decide to do something about this particular product. All right, either increase the price or the sales a little bit to match the profit. Okay, all right. And so that is that. So which product have high sales but low profit margin, potential pricing issues? So management can do this. And so this is what we've just looked at. And so the question 7 is, who are the top 50 customers by revenue? Now we'll leave this for now, all right, because we are looking for the top 50. And let's move on to the next one. So which stores are the top revenue generators? And so the top revenue generators, we can simply just come here and we are looking at the stores. Okay, so this time we are going to stores. So which stores? All right, so the stores, top revenue generators, and we are looking at total sales or total revenue. Okay, and with this we can simply just go in here and say, all right, there are so many stores. Probably we are just looking at the top 3 stores. All right, so let's say we are looking at just the top 3 stores. Okay, all right, and now I can put this right here and we can apply. Right, so that we can use the donut chart to show this or to indicate this. All right, okay, so now that we have this, now we can just go in and we will have to format this to look good, all right, for the project that we are making. All right, so let's increase this a little bit, the size of this a little bit. All right, and then we can now go in here and try to format this. All right, so we don't want any legend title for this, it takes so much space. All right, but for the color, I think we can do something about the colors. All right, we would like to make this is blue. All right, so that should be fine, and we would like to change the color for this. This also looks fine, but for this particular one, I think we can change this a little bit. All right, to match the theme of what we are doing. All right, and so now that we have that, we can just close this, and then for the details, we can either position it in the middle or inside or outside, depending on what you are working on and how you want it. All right, so if you prefer it outside, you can leave it outside. If you prefer it inside, you can leave it inside. If you want it outside, you can leave it outside. But I think the outside and the prefer outside are both the same. All right, and so now that we have that, we can simply now come to values, and what we are going to do is that we are going to work our way around the values a little bit, the font style, the font size, the font color, and all of that. All right, so now we have that, and I think that should be fine. Okay, that should be fine for now, and that is okay. So for the title, let's work out the title. So we are going to say top 3 stores. All right, top 3 stores, top 3 stores with the most sales. All right, so top 3 stores with the most sales. Okay, and we can just increase this a little, decrease this a little bit, make this bold. All right, make this, and then we can align it perfectly in the middle. Okay, all right, so I think that wasn't aligned, so we align it in the middle. Now let's see if we can increase this a little bit. No, so let's just keep it at 12. All right, and yeah, so now we are going to just change the effects. All right, or remove any other effect on this particular project. All right, and that's that. Voila. So you have it looking like that. So you have the top three stores with the most sales. Okay. All right. So now let's move on to the next question. So these are the top three stores with this leading. So this is the top store, all right, with the most sales. That's Tienda Puyo de Araguas L, whatever. God. So you can even see that this the total. This alone is taking about 46.98% of just these three, all right, followed by this taking 26.79%. So this is going to be the second store making the most sales, all right, and this is going to be the third store making the most sales, all right. And so that's how it's supposed to work, and that's how it works. Okay, all right. Now let's move on to the next question, which is what? Which stores have the lowest profit margin and why? So we are looking at the stores with the lowest profit margin and why. So let's jump right in and go do that. All right. So we are simply just going to jump in here, okay, and we are going to look for the stores, right? Let me read the question. So which stores have the lowest profit margin? So the stores with the lowest profit margin. So again, we are going to go back and look for stores, all right? And this time around, we are looking for the profit margin. So total profit, and because it's lowest, we are going to come right back here, and instead of basic photo we are going to be selecting top end, and then instead of the top we are going to change the show items to bottom, all right, and then we are going to put in 5. So and then we are basing this on the total profit. So this is now going to give us the stores that's bringing in the least profit, all right, the least profit. Okay, so once we have this, we can easily change or format this or give it a visual, and for this visual I'm going to use this. Let's see if this works. So for this one we are going to just use this particular visualization. Okay, all right, and since we already have a copy, we can just format painter and then do it right there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the 5 stores, all right, making the least amount of profit. Okay, so the first one we have Tienda San Bartolome, all right. So this is the first store that is making the least profit, all right, but it's still bringing in 55k. But this is the one. This is the worst of all. The Tienda Sudanese. This particular store is the profit that is bringing is just so abysmal, and so why is it that this particular store is bringing so much abysmal profit? And so we can sit down with management and then now look at what is happening with this particular store, go more into details, see what is going on and what is not going on, and then make a decision based on this. But with this, we're able to let management know that, all right, so these are the stores that are bringing the least profit, all right. And as a data analyst, this is our job to let management know that these are the stores that are bringing the least profit, all right. If you wanted to create a page for stores only, all right, new page for stores on we could actually go into details, and maybe in another video we'll do that, where we just take the stores and look at the stores in its entirety. But this is just, like I said, beginner level stuff, and so we wouldn't want to start creating breakthroughs and all of that are more into details. Okay, and so yes, so you can simply just say this, and management can use this as a way to make more inquiries, all right, ask more questions, and if you want we can go in and do so much more with this result that we've provided. All right, so this has made me realize something, that this we didn't entirely take the effects out. All right, so we are going to just go in and do right there. All right, so this is the total profit by the store. So but we are going to say the stores making the least amount of profit. All right, so we are going to go to the title, and I'm going to say stores bringing in less profit. All right, so stores bringing in less profit. All right, and I believe that should be that for that. So these are the stores bringing in less profit. It looks like you don't see, but if I'm to, yeah, you can now see, so stores bringing in less profit. All right, okay, so let's jump right back in and continue our work. So the next question that we are to solve is, which region show the strongest sales performance? So which region shows the strongest sales performance? So with this, we are going to our locations table. All right, we are going to locations table to go and pick up the region. All right, so this region, all right, show up, we showing a strong sales performance. All right, so total sales. Okay, so we have this, and with this we are going to be using the map chart. All right, we are not going to be using the map chart for this. All right, so what we are going to be using, we can try a few things, maybe this, no, So which regions we are actually looking at just the top 5 regions, all right, because there are so many regions, all right. You can see right there, there are so many regions, and we don't need all of them, all right. So we only need the top 5 region, all right. So the top five region that's making the most sales, okay. And then we can apply this, and so let's see if we can now fit this right here. Okay, so we can fit this right here. So we can say that the Casilla while Leon, I don't know how to pronounce this, excuse me, is making the most sales, all right, followed by Aragon making it the next most sales, and then Cataluna, all right, and then this, and so on and so forth. Forgive me if you are watching this and you are from these countries. Pardon me for not pronouncing them well, all right. And so this is how, all right. So this is it. So the top 5 regions making the most sales. All right, answered as simple as that. And then what we can simply do is that we can now go in and format this. I don't like the colors of choice. All right, so I can just come to colors and then change the colors. All right, I don't want these bright colors. I want something below them. Okay, so like so, and then we can use this. Okay, and then with this we can maybe use this. That's too bright. So maybe we can use this. All right. So this makes a lot of sense. All right. So the top 5 regions, and now we can just change the title to top 5 regions with the most sales. Okay. And so I'm going to come here. Sorry, excuse me. I'm going to come right here, and I'm going to say regions or top five regions with most sales. All right, and that should answer the question. So these are our top 5 regions with the most sales. As the question is requesting of us to do. So which region show the strongest sales performance? All right, and so coming back here, you can see that the Castilla y Leon is showing the strongest sales performance. All right, followed by Aragon, followed by Cataluna. All right, followed by Andalusia, and then Castilla-La Mancha. All right, so these are the regions showing the most sales. All right, or bringing in the most sales. Okay, all right. So now we can go to question number 2, which is who are the top performing sales agent by revenue? So who are the top performing sales agent by revenue? And with this, I only need the top one agent making the most revenue. All right. So the top one agent making the most revenue. And so I come to the agent sales. Now before I even continue, I'd like to know that before doing anything, because we had the sales agent photo, all right. We had the image URL for the sales agent. Okay, so what I did was that I came right here and then I changed it from uncategorized. Okay, so first you find it under uncategorized, so I changed it from uncategorized to image URL because we've been given the image URL, and that's what we used. Okay, all right, so let's continue. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the image URL, so which is the sales agent photo. All right, and then now we are going to look for, it says by total sales. All right, so the measure table, you are going to look for the total sales. All right, and I'm just looking for the top one. All right, so the top one agent, just the top one agent, the agent that is making the most sales. All right, so top one by the total sales right over here, and then I apply, and so you can see that this agent is the one making the total sales, and it's a filter. So I'm going to change this and make the filter. All right, so that if I want information based on him as the top one, what he actually brought on board, if I just click on that, I can see everything. I can see his total sales, his total profit, his total cost, his total quantity. I can see his sales for each of the products. I can see his sales in each of the regions and all of that. All right, okay, and so that's why we are just using that as a filter. We could have just used a card, but I believe the filter is much more better. All right, in order to know more details about him. Okay, all right. So now that we have that, we can simply just come here and do our formatting. Okay, and so the formatting is one of what is important. So I'm going to make this one, and I'm going to make this one. All right, okay, then now we can just come here, and then for the call out, I don't want any call out for this particular one. All right, I don't want any labels or whatever, so I'm just going to take that completely off. All right, okay, and then total sales by agent. All right, so now that I have that, you can just simply remove anything, background or what have you bothered from this. Okay, all right, so that's what we are doing. So this entirely is formatting. All right, okay, so I think since that is almost there, we can just come to title and let's say top agent or you can just say best selling agent. All right, so the best selling agent, and now we can reduce this to 12, and then this, and we can make this black, so black is fine, and we can just put this right in the middle. Okay, so align it in the middle, and now we can just stretch this to the top. All right, we can just stretch it to the top and this down to the bottom. All right, okay, so now we have this, and we can go in here and remove all effects. All right, and so voila, that is done for this as well. Okay, looks good, right? All right, so hey, if you've made it up to this point following my guide, all right, on this particular project and you're loving it, I'll just like to take a minute and ask you to, hey, can you subscribe and hit on the like? You can also turn on the notification bell so that whenever I upload a new video like this, you'll be among the first to be notified. All right, I'm here for you, so do be sure to join the Nakama. Now, without much ado, let's jump right back in. Okay, so now we've answered this question 10 and question 11, who are the top performing sales agent. Now the next question is, what is the correlation between sales agent activity and store performance? All right, which agents have the highest average deal size, and how does unit cost versus unit price vary across product categories? And then we are also going to answer what are the top 50 customers by revenue contribution. And so with that, we are going to moving on to our next page, which is the page 4. All right, so let's go in there and answer these questions one by one. All right, so now we've answered almost all of the questions. We have this, who are the top 50 customers by revenue to answer. We have who are the top performing agents, sales agents by revenue, which agents have the highest score day source, and how does unit cost vary versus unit price vary across product category. All right, sure, let's go in right there and start doing this. So we are going to answer question 7, which is, who are the top 50 customers by revenue distribution? Okay, and so that's what we are going to do. So we just go in right there. So we are looking at the top 50 customers by revenue distribution. Okay, and so in view of this, we are simply going to go to customers, because we need the customers, the top 50 customers. So we are going to select the customers, and then by revenue distribution, right? And so by revenue distribution, that is total sales or total revenue. And so we are just going to select this, and because we are looking for just the top 50, we need to come down here, and then with the top, and we are going to change this and say top 50, and then based on the total sales. So we are going to put it right in here, and we are going to apply, and now we are going to get that, and we want the matrix for this. Okay, so we are going to increase this a little bit so that it shows. Okay, and now we are going to bring this down here and increase it because we want it to have a lot more space. Okay, and so I'm just going to increase the space a little bit. All right, and then drag this whole thing down here so that we can just all see the top 50 customers by revenue. All right, so now that I have this, I may want to, because this, so there's so much space at the end, so I'd like to show this right here a little bit. Okay, and then now I can increase this to the top. All right, so now we can just go in there and format this. So what I'm going to say is that with a style, I want a bold header, so that's going to change that part to black. All right, sure. And then for the grid, I'm going to leave it as it is, so the grid is fine. And then we are going to go into the value section, and we are going to change this, do something a little bit. And so this should be fine. If you ask me, this should be fine. The color and everything matches. All right, so this is black, the background color, then this should be white, and then the background color should be black, right? Okay, and then this should be white, and then the background color again, hold on, this should be black. All right, so this kind of makes sense. All right, so this is black. All right, okay, so that's it for the values. And then for the column headers, we want this as bold, and then we also want the text color to be white. Okay, and then we want the background to be black, and we might decide to align it in the middle, but in this case I don't want to align it in the middle, so I'm going to leave it as it is. And then the row headers as well, what I'm going to do is that I want this because this is not entirely black. If you look at it, it's not entirely black. So I'm going to change this and make it black. All right. Okay. Then we are going to bolden it a little bit, and also we are not going to align it in the middle whatsoever. Okay. And so once we are done with that, I don't want the sub, I don't want this, I don't want the row subtotals. No, I don't want any of that. And so that is why we need to increase this again. Excuse me, what is this? All right, so now bring this down here so that I can shift this again. Okay, and now this is that. And so you can just simply go in right here now to our general and then remove the effects, all right, of this. Okay, and then voila. So that is that. So these are our top 50 customers by revenue. Okay, and if you want, we can actually arrange them in ascending order. So total sales, and we want it in ascending order, so in descending order, excuse me, so descending order, so from the highest, all right, to the lowest. So which customer made the most sales or contributed the most sales? And that is Marcio Hernandez Gilbert. So he contributed an amount of 30,000 US dollars, then followed by Calista Del Bennett with 29,000, and then we have Pedro Gilbert Villanueva. God, these are Spanish names, but well, so you get it right. All right. And so that's our question answered. And then now we are going to come down here. We are going to say how does unit cost versus unit price vary across product categories. Okay. So again, let me highlight this so that we don't forget the ones that we've not answered, and then which agents have a higher deal size. So I'm going to highlight this. So these are the ones left. Who are the top performing agents by revenue? All right, so that we don't forget the ones we haven't answered. So I believe we've answered which region show the strongest sales performance. We've answered which stores have the lowest profit margin and why. We've answered which stores are the top revenue generators. All right, we've answered the rest of them. So now we are answering just the four. And now we've answered this now, so we can just simply remove the color for that, and we have these three to go. All right, so how does unit cost versus unit price vary across the product category? So we are looking at question 40. All right, because I just want to finish with this. So unit cost, okay, so where is the unit cost? So the unit cost should be here. All right, so we have our unit cost and our unit price. All right, so we are looking for unit price and unit cost by what? So how does unit cost versus unit price vary across product categories? So product categories, we're looking at the product categories. All right, and so I'm just going to put this here, and I'm going to go to product and select the product category. All right, and with this, what I'm going to use, I'm going to use a scatter plot, all right, to indicate this or to show this. Okay, and so I have this, and I'm going to bring this right here, bring this right here, bring this right here. And there is a relationship. So if I check, there is a relationship between unit price and unit cost. All right, so the relationship between unit price and unit cost for products category character. All right, so it shows that an increase in the unit price is leading to actually a gradual increase in the unit cost. Okay, and then and then this one as well, consider a higher increase in unit cost so leading to a higher increase in unit price. Okay, and let's check this out. With this, what we are saying is that, yeah, even though, but this is bringing in, BMX actually bringing in the lowest unit price, all right, and the unit cost. But looking at this, you can see that the unit cost, the unit price is just about 600,000 more than the unit cost. And then with this, we can see that this is about 1,900,000, all right, 1,900,000 less from, so the unit cost is actually catching up to the unit price. All right, let me look at this. Let's check this. So this is about 2.5. All right, this is about 2 million difference, and these ones are just about 2 million differences, and this also, yeah, 1.5, 2 million. Okay, all right, so an increase in unit cost leads to an increase in unit price. Okay, all right, so that's the relationship. Okay, all right. And so with this, we can simply just come here, and I normally don't want anything for this, so for the scatter plot, all right, and then for the y-axis as well, we are going to remove every single thing, all right, from this, so this and that. Okay, and then Let's check if they're in a grid line. I don't think they're in a grid lines, so zoom slider is not going to show. Okay, and then for our markers, we are going to change the color of our markers, and let's increase this a little bit, and let's change our markers. Or should we leave it as blue? All right, so we are going to leave it as blue. I wanted to make it black, but I think blue is fine. Okay, and the category labels, let's put up the category labels, and with those ones we are going to change the format size, the style, and the colors. We're going to make this black. All right, bolding, and I'm going to increase this a little bit. All right, so that's that for that. And now that we are done with that, we are going to go to general, and for the title we are going to say relationship between, all right, between unit cost and unit price by product cut. All right, so by product cut, which is product category. And now we can reduce this a little bit, put this right here like so. So this should have been bolding, right? And then we can align it in the middle, right in the middle. Okay, so it looks like I made some mistake with the unit, so we can just go in there and make that correction between unit cost and unit price. All right, so this is fine, right? This is the relationship between unit cost and unit price by product category. All right, so starting from BMX, we can see the relationship between the unit. All right, so starting from BMX, you can see the relationship between the sum of unit price and then the sum of unit cost, right, as shown below. And then for calculaturismo product category, you can also see that for that, and then like so, and then increases to Carretera. All right, and so you can provide this to management, and based on this, management can make their own analysis based on this information that you're giving to them. Okay, all right. So now that we have done with that, that is for this particular question as well. So let's take this out. All right. So now we have who are the top performing sales agents by revenue, and then which agents have the highest average deal size. All right. So what I did, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the agents. All right. So I'm going to give them all the measures so that if you just want to look for the agents performing well by revenue, you can just see that. If you want to look for the agents performing well by profit, you can see that. If you want to see those with the average, with the highest deal size, you can see that, and all, and so on and so forth. All right, and so we are going to come right here, and we are going to go to agents. Okay, I'm going to go to sales agents, and I'm going to select my sales agent photo. All right, and so once I have this, I'm going to come to my measures. I'm going to select my total sales. All right, my total profit. I'm going to select the total cost by agent, the total quantity, and we are going to select the average. All right, the average sales. Okay, and so we are going to have all of this in here by agents, and so whichever agents that you are looking to get information on, or whichever measure that you are looking to get results on, you can easily just check right from this complete table. Okay, so now that we have this, all we need to do is to go in there and then do a little bit of formatting. All right, so with this, I'm just going to change this from sales agent photo to sales agent. Okay, and then I'm going to select, I'm using the matrix for this. Okay, all right, so now we are going to just come right, and we're just going to come right in here, and we can start doing our formatting. All right, and so the layout, I think that is fine. The grid, I think this is fine. Okay, and now the values, yeah, we can do something about the values. Okay, so this black, and see, I like to increase the space a little bit. Okay, like so, and then this as well, we can like so. Okay, all right, so now that we have that, the column headers, let's make that proper as well, so like so. All right, we can increase it a little bit if we want, but I think this is fine. And then with the row headers, there shouldn't be any row header. All right, so we are going to take this off as well. We don't want them. All right, so we have free space to scroll down and scroll up. All right, based on what we are looking for. All right, okay, so now that we have that, I believe everything should be fine by now. So now we can come right here, come to effects, remove all the effects, and now we have this. But one more thing with this particular project or with this particular visualization, maybe I might want to put some border visuals around that. And so for that, I can just come to effect, okay, and then scroll down, select the visual border, okay, bring this down, and then what color visual border do I want? I like to use this, and I like to increase the width a little bit, okay, so that I have it in here. So now that I have it in here, we are done solving the questions. All right, so now we can find the top performing sales agent by revenue by simply coming here and say, oh, so we want the top agent by revenue. All right, so we want to sort by revenue sales. Okay, so by revenue sales. So this is a top sales, this is a agent by top sales. So this person comes in first, this person comes in second, this third, this fourth, and this fifth. All right, one other thing that we can add to this if we wanted to is to just come right here, all right, and say, all right, so we have the sales agent, but we want the sales agent's name. All right, so sales agent's name, so you can just bring this and put this right here, okay, and then so this is Natalia. You can just see that's Natalia, so sales agent Natalia brought in all of this, all right, and so forth and so on. You can just simply add that. So this sales agent is who? Juanito Pacheco Quintero. All right. So he is our top sales agent. All right. So that is that for that. And then our second top agent, if you don't know the name, is Ricardo Amat Casals. All right. So you can just simply do this, and this is basically fine. And so that is that for of our questions. Okay, so by total sales, and if you also just want to find which agent have the highest average deal size, so we have the deal size. Okay, so we have the average deal size, average sales. So we have the average sales deal size. So if we want, we can just simply say, all right, so we are looking at the one with the average sales deal size, and that is actually this particular man over here, the Chinese man, Aureliano Gabezas. All right, so he has the highest average deal size, okay, amongst all of them. And so that is that with the questions that we were solving. All right, so I believe we are done solving all of the questions. Okay, so one thing that I did is that I also added the stores, all right, so that we can see all of this information by stores as well, because the stores is the most important thing. All right, so after everything, we just added a store slicer. All right, so stores and then slicer. Okay, so store slicer, and then we did a little bit of formatting. All right, cleaning this visuals. All right, making it good. Okay, and so I'm just going to decrease this to 1. No, I'm going to increase this to 3, and I'm just going to decrease this to 1. Okay, but even this we can make it let's say 9. Okay, all right, so that I can bring it here. The names of the stores are really long. Okay, so we can reduce this a little bit once more to 8. All right, so that is fine. And then for the gaps, I don't want any gaps, so I'm simply just going to come down here and close the gaps. All right, okay, and then now we can do this, and the call out values. All right, the call out values, we can either increase or decrease them, but I like to bolden them. All right, yeah, I like to bolden them. Okay, so we have that. And then for the buttons, I think everything should be fine over here. The only thing is that for the stores, we can either turn it off or turn it on, but I like to turn it off just to save space. Okay, and then we are going to turn the effects off as well, so that we don't see anything altogether. So voila, so now we have everything. So if I want to know the record by stores, so let me change this back. I don't want to sort by average sales, I want to sort by total sales. All right, and so if I want to know by stores who brought in the highest sales or the total profit or whatever, and since this is based on the total sales, we want to find which agent, all right, per this store brought in the total sales. All I need to do is to click on this, and it's telling me that, all right, so with this particular store, this person brought in the highest sales followed by this. But if I don't want for this and I want for this, now I can say that in this particular store, this man brought in the highest sales followed by this. All right, or I want information on this or this. So based on the stores, you can just check and select all of them. All right. Okay. All right. So okay, that is that. So you can see these stores affects the entire thing as well. So this is because this is slicer. All right. So don't get it twisted. So now we are going to go back and do our final thing. So this is going to be our final thing, and with this you can see right here that what we did was that I used the ultimate slicer panel. All right, so I created a slicer panel for all of this. So I took every single thing that is most important in each of the tables, all right, that we had, all right, and then I created a slicer for all of them so that I can say, all right, so for the sales agent, if I want information for this particular woman, it will just show me. All right, and if I don't want for her, I want for this particular man, it can also just show me. All right, so that is what we are going in there to do now. We are going to create our ultimate slicer panel so that this slicer panel can control this entire dashboard. All right, whatever you want. If you want information on the region, we can just select. If you want information on product, you can just select. For information on stores, we can just select to give us it to just give us. If we want information on customers, so for instance, this particular customer, this person was the one that got the most sales from him or her. All right, and so if you want to go to the next one, so this particular customer as well, it was this person that got the most sales or the most deals from him or her. All right, and so we are going to be creating the slicer. So let's jump right in and go do just that. Okay. All right, so once we come here, we have here. So now we are going to be creating. We are going to be taking everything that we'll be using for our slices. All right, and so in this particular scenario, the stores. All right, we are going to be using the stores. So the store is going to be a slicer. All right, so let me just format this so that we can use that to format paint to the other slices. Okay, and so I'm going to come right here and to the multi-select button. And I'm going to make this one. I'm going to make this one, and then we're just going to make this 0. All right, and then overflow. We are going to overflow so that we can use the arrow that goes to the right to select the next person. All right, and so overflow, and I don't want it to be continuous row, I want it to be paginated. All right, so that we have the arrow. Okay, and then we don't want it in vertical form, we want it in the horizontal form, like so. Okay, all right, so now that we have that, now for the call out. Okay, for the call out, we are going to reduce the size a little bit or bolden it a little bit, and then like so. So this should be fine so that we can save space. Okay, all right, and then we have this, so like so. We don't want any levels, and let's go right here. All right, and for the title, we are going to work out the title a little bit, so like so, like so, like so. All right, and then put it in the middle, or align it in the middle, of course. All right, so we are going to align this in the middle, and then now that we are done with that, we are going to make this small. Okay, we are going to make this really small, and then for the effects, we are going to turn off effects, all effects. Okay, we are going to bring this right here, and voila, we are done with the first one. Okay, so now that we are done with this, now we are going to select the next one, sales agent. So with sales agent, we are going to be using the picture. All right, and like so. So all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to select this because I've already formatted this, and that's the exact same thing we are going to do for all of them. Okay, all right, and then we can close this allow. Okay, so that we have this, and then we have that. Okay, so now I'm done with this as well. So now we are going to move on to products, and for products, we are going to look for the product itself. All right, and so like so, and exactly we are going to be doing the same thing for all of them. All right, because we are going to be using the same format across board. All right, and so like so, then we are going to bring this down here, and like so. I think this is fine, and increase this or decrease a little bit. So like so. So we got for the products, and for the locations, I'm going to select my region. All right, I'm going to select my region, or should we select the town, whichever one, but let's select the region. All right, so region, and then like so, and then I'm going to go to format painter. I'm going to format paint this. Okay, so that crow was disturbing my work, but that is fine. So now we can just make this simple, as small as it should be. All right, so like so, and then we can now bring this right here to match it. Okay, and then sales agents like this. So all right, so now we have region, and now we are going to go with for customers. So we are going to select our customers and filter, right? Okay, so now we are going to just select this format painter, and we want it the same way. Okay, all right, and then now we can just come here and bring it up here. All right, good. All right, so now we've created all of our slices. Okay, but there are two other things that are important to this, or let's say, yeah, we are going to use something to represent our turn off and our turn ons, our filter panel turn on and turn offs. All right, and we also need to use the select and the bookmarks to make this perfect, because we can't just leave them like so. I want them in a way that when you come to this page, you can see we have this right here, and I can shut them, so I can hide all of them, and then I can show them if I want to show them. All right, so you can see I show them and I hide them. All right, so I can just have it like this in there on my page, or I can decide to just show them, and then the sliders will appear when I want to use them. All right, so that's what we're going in there to do right now. Okay, all right, so let's go there and get that done. Okay, so now if you don't know how slices are created, I have a video on that, so you can check that out. Okay, all right, so for this, what we are going to do is I'm just simply going to go to insert, and because I want every single thing to work as I want it, I want every single thing to appear when I want it to appear, and every single thing to disappear when I want them to disappear. I'm going to have to put them in a box, sort of. All right, so I'm going to have to put them in a box, so I'm going to come here, create this. Right, so I'm going to come create this. All right, okay, so this shape. Okay, all right, so I created the shape, and now what I'm going to do is that for the shape style, I'm going to make it this, so we can see every single thing in the shape. All right, and so now that I've gotten this, I'm going to select every single thing, the shape included, every single thing, the shape included, right click, and then I'm going to group them. All right, so I'm going to group everything. Okay, and so now I've grouped everything, and so if I come to my view section, we are going to see that I've selected, we'll go to selection, you can see that I've selected everything, and it's called it group 1. So this group 1 is the entirety of everything in here, the shape and all of the slices in that particular shape. And so if I pull in the arrow down, you can see that it's telling me that we have stores in there, in that group, we have sales agents in that group, we have product filter in that group, we have region filter in that group, we have customers filter, and we have the shape itself. All right, and that is exactly what I want. So now that I have this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open my bookmark. All right, so now I have this, I'm going to open my bookmark. Now you can see I've already created some, that was for my previous work. All right, but I'm going to create a new one. So now that I've created my bookmark, so I'm going to say, all right, if this group is shut down, so now you can see we can't find it here because I've shut it down, then I'm going to add a filter, and I'm going to call this filter closed, so that it doesn't overrun the one I've already created. I'm going to call this filter closed with capital letters. All right, and I'm going to go back, and I'm going to say if it's opened, all right, then I'm going to add another one. I'm going to say, all right, then this should be filter opened, like so, so that if I click on this, you can see it's off, and then if I click on this, you can see it's back on. So if I click on this, it's off, just so you get it. If I click on this, it's back on, so we know this is working. All right, we know our filter is working. Okay, and so what I can do is that now that I have this, I need objects to replace this, because I can't just be going back and forth. So I need objects to replace it, so that when I control click on this particular object, it will either shut it down or turn it on. All right, and so that's what we are going to do. So once I've done this, I've done my bookmark, my selection and everything, I'm going to go back, I'm going to come to insert, and I'm going to select the picture that I want. Now in this particular case, you can select any picture that you want of your choosing. All right, really doesn't matter. Any picture that you want at your disposal, you can use that. All right, so I'm going to come to browse, and I'm going to go select my pictures. All right, and so my pictures, I have them stored. So the pictures that I'm using, I'll be using the control panel. All right, so if you want, I can also leave these pictures in the description box below for you so that you can use them as well if you want. Okay, so I'm using this, and the second one that I'm using is going to be so this is shut down, so this turn on. The other one is going to be shut down, or the panel off. Okay, and then like so. So these are the two ones that these are the two I'm going to be using. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm going to make the whole thing a little smaller, and I'm going to bring this down here, and I'm going to bring this down here as well. All right, so we have this. Now this is not simply going to work. If I control click on this, nothing is going to work. If I control click on this, nothing is going to work. Why? Because you've not given these actions. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to go give these two objects actions to tell them that, all right, so if I control click on this, I want the entire thing to hide, and if I control click on this, I want the entire thing to show. Okay, and so that's what we are going to do. So I'm going to go right here, and you see I've selected this one. So this is going to be my control panel open, and this is going to be my filter closed. Okay, so you are going to go in and have to give them actions, all right, so that we are able to use them as and when we want to. All right, so I'm going to select this. Okay, no, so first I'll select this. All right, and I'm going to give this an action, and so I'm going to turn this on, give it an action, and then I'm going to come to type back, and this is a bookmark. Whatever that we did over here, we did based on bookmark. Okay, there is no page navigation but bookmark, and so I'm going to go to bookmark, select bookmark, and then the bookmark will be none. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say, so this particular one, if I click on this, I want everything to hide or everything to close, and so I'm going to choose close. Now you can name it however one you want when you are in the process of doing it. Okay, and so I'm done with that, and so if I'm to come back here and control hit on this, you can see now everything is vanished. All right, you can see now everything is gone. And so if I want it back on, then I want to use this, and so I'm going to go back and give this an action. Okay, and with this I'm going to change it from back to bookmark, and then from this I'm going to say filter opened. Okay, so that if I'm to click on this, select control click, my filters is going to turn back on. And so if I don't want, I can just click on control click on this. If I want, control click on this, and then it's back on. And so that is how that works. All right, and this is important because sometimes maybe you need to filter some things based on this information, based on stores or whatever that you want. All right, and so you can easily just do that. And so you can see that this particular shape is in front. So if it's in front, all you need to do is to go to format, and then go to send backwards. We should have done that in the initial stages, but it really doesn't matter. And then select send to back. All right, and then I'll click outside, and now that should be okay. All right, so you made a mistake. We really made a mistake. All right, so so send to back. Okay, so it seems we made a mistake, but let's see. I'm trying to figure out if it can still work. All right, if this, because when we were grouping, we probably should have just sent it backwards before we even went in there to do what we wanted to do, but it's not working. Okay, so that is fine. So what we can do is we can just remove this. All right, so we can just remove it and then do it all over again. All right, so it means now this is not going to work. Oh, it's still working. Oh, it's still working, so that is fine. Now, there's a new discovery because I thought you probably should have still selected everything with the shape. I didn't know that even without the shape, because if you can see, the shape was in front. So I was trying to get the shape backwards, all right? And we should have done that in the initial stages when we were grouping everything. When we added the shape, we should have sent the shape backwards. But it's showing that it still really doesn't matter because we've already given it an action. So even if one of them is out, the rest will still work, as you can see. So showing it like so, and then like so. All right, so like so, even without the shape. so the rest of the items to work. So that is a new discovery for me as well. And yeah, I do hope you enjoyed this video. So sorry. So this is going to be the end of today's video. And I do hope you enjoyed it. This is an interesting project. All right. It was really interesting doing this and I'm going through all of this. I mean, yeah, and so I'm pretty sure you also enjoyed. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, uh, and then comment in the comment section below. All right, just to let me know that indeed you enjoyed this project. And like I've always said, you are free to add this project to your portfolio. All right, but you first need to understand what you are doing. All right, and your practice makes perfect. So understand what you are doing so that when you go for an interviews and you are being asked how you did them, you are able to explain how you did them. But aside that, you are free to add that to you are free to add these projects to your portfolio. Okay, and so yeah, do be sure to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to do that, it means so much to me. All right, and I'm here to help you guys. So if there's any question, anything at all, be sure to get in touch and I'll be sure to help you out. All right, and so yes, this is going to be the end of everything, and like I've always said, do be sure to take care of yourself and I'll catch you in the next one.